It was a question that kept coming up, and I have to claim I don't know if we came to a clear conclusion, which is the definition of the mobile category. And it's not necessarily our job to rewrite the definition while we are judging, because it's not fair to the entrants and to the entries to rewrite as we judge and then give something, give a new definition. So we kept going back to the sheet of paper that we had with the categories, but I might turn to Moin. Where Moin? Mister, is this mobile? Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think is mobile?
You're right. We had a lot of discussions around what is mobile, and I think that how the jury is being composed, you can tell that we all come from from slightly different backgrounds. And what's interesting is some have a more technology-driven definition of what mobile is, and others have more of a behavioral definition of what mobile is. And I think that's kind of where we had a lot of discussions around. So is it just because something sits on a tablet, or it can sit on a tablet, or it just is on the phone, does that mean it's mobile? Or does mobile actually mean it has to be something that you can take around and that's being connected and that you can have access to the cloud and all its services and information that it can provide with you? And I think I think we all kind of landed at the end at that spot that we said it has to be technology that you can take around with you, and whether you use it at home as, say, a second screen experience, or whether you use it while you sit at the bus stop, or while you use it while you're at school, for example, all of these different places. So if it's technology that you can deploy at those places, and ideally that is also connected to services, data, information, anything that can compute and then provide some kind of feedback, that's kind of where we landed, that this is mobile. And obviously there are some entries in here that fit the definition more or less, but I think we kind of, the list of winners, we really narrowed it down to that definition.
Yes, there were some trends, and I'm a bit surprised that the trends that comes from clients today wasn't really what we saw in the jury, because clients always are like, apps is the easy solution. I don't think we saw that many apps, and I'm happy for that. Other trends are more that we try very much to build things on insights. It doesn't really need to have a creative idea. It's just like, oh, we have an insight, let's build on that. And that's kind of not what we used to judge. We're more like judging things, inventing things. So I think that was a trend. And let's say texting and driving is a problem. And that's an insight that everyone knows about. So we had how many apps or things did we have for that kind of solution? We saw them all over the place. We saw a lot of drinking problem things. But the big trend, and maybe the trend I'm a bit worried about, is that we didn't see very much paid media. The paid media is very difficult in mobile, and the judging process was quite hard when we had paid media, because we were like, we have to push ourselves to actually think it was good. And we have the same problem more and more in cyber. Banners was like 13, 15 years ago something we worked with, and today people don't really care about it. But in mobile, I think from the beginning, we don't really care about it. So we have a problem for the future to bring all the money we have in print and bring that into the telephone. I think that's a big question we have.
When we think about the mobile, lots of times we think of what can we do inside the screen, but in reality there's a number of other spaces that surround this screen. And there's actually a couple of trends that we've seen in some of the gold lines as well. So for example, the Scrabble Wi-Fi. Scrabble Wi-Fi was a great idea because it was creating a place to make a connection with the brand when you were connecting your phone to the Wi-Fi. So you know how sometimes in wireless places you see the login page that they bring up? Well, Scrabble Wi-Fi turned that into a game. So it was such a really good idea of creating a new space, creating a new marketing opportunity and a point at the moment of relevance. And I think that that's quite important. We also saw that a little bit with, is it Reborn? Or sorry, what's the name of Reborn? There's the Second Life apps. So Reborn, that was such an interesting one as well, because that was taking applications that we had on our phones and actually turning that into a marketing space as well.